Oh, yeah. Well, no, it was a little while ago, about a month and a half ago. He called me and wanted to come and present the word here. He feels a special place here. He was raised here, apparently, right? I think so. Raised pretty much, yeah. So he has a college course that he's taking, and he has to present the word of God. And this is a better place to do it than in my home church. And I said, you know what a beautiful thing. Praise God. So welcome Ben as he comes and presents the word.
Checkity check check. All right, microphone check 1 2. Hello, hello. Got it? No. I've never worn this thing before. I'm really comfortable with a handheld microphone. You guys hear me all right? Yeah. Well, as Pastor Mason had mentioned, this was the first church I first willingly attended. I see that, Wilda, you have a cane now.
Yeah,
I'm thanking the Lord that you didn't have it back when I went here, because you would have had the reach to smack me across the head. I better get to it. I know that I'm on the time limit today. Spanish church comes in at 11:45. You say they start setting up?
Yes.
So if I go a little long and start speaking Spanish, you guys understand? Oh, I need my pointer, don't I?
No.
No?
Sorry,
It's okay. When you get the first picture up. But anyways. So I'm married to my wife. And we've been married for 2 years. There'll be a picture up soon. And she wasn't able to make it today. She's a kids pastor at Praise Assembly, which is in Monmouth. It's about 25 miles northwest of Albany, and that's where we live currently. So she's unable to make it today. We took a Sunday off last month, and we're taking another Sunday off this month, so she couldn't swing this one. I go, what's that? Oh.
Don't look.
Oh.
It was fake. I faked you out. Sorry.
You're talking back to me. I'm not used to it. I didn't mean like it.
Hard apple break.
So I'm a college student at Northwest University in Salem, and I'm taking a preaching course. And this is my last year at the university. Then I'll finish my pastoral license requirements, and I'll be a licensed pastor in about 7 or 8 months, somewhere in there. So I'm really excited. I'm going to title this sermon, "Are You Available to Have a Broken Heart?" And that may seem a little strange, but you know, I've been studying the book of Nehemiah. I know some people are saying, Nehemiah who? If you find the book of Psalms, we'll go ahead and turn to it now so you have to be ready. If you find the big book of Psalms and you turn past Job, turn back past Job, past Esther, and you'll get to Nehemiah. If you accidentally turn back to Genesis, we'll pray for you after service. I've been studying this book of Nehemiah for the last couple months, and it's become my favorite book. I've been reading commentaries on it, seeing what scholars have to say about that book. I looked it up on Wikipedia. I'm just kidding. I went to Eagle Point High School, but I was able to go, I went to university. It's been able to undo some of the damage that's been done. Okay. How many of you guys have heard of the TV show The Biggest Loser? Anybody? So, The Biggest Loser is a TV show that people from all over the United States come and they try to lose weight. And I love that show. So my friend David over there, how's it going, David? When David calls me, he doesn't call just to talk to me. When he calls me, I know I'm about to go on an adventure. And that's how it was this particular day. David Higgson called me, and I said, hello? He says, man, I'm driving up to Portland. I'm driving up to Portland right now. I said, what are you doing up in Portland? He said, I'm going to try out for The Biggest Loser. And The Biggest Loser, they go to different cities to find the people for their next season. And they hold tryouts at these convention centers throughout different cities. So they were coming up to Portland. And David and his wife, girlfriend at the time, were driving up. And I said, oh man, let me go with you. So he picks me up, and there's 4 of us that went. And we're standing in a line. We get there, we're standing in a line. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, I'm feeling at home. I'm standing with my boys, like the people that are, this huge line of people from all over the Pacific Northwest came to, there's me and my wife. Next slide. We're standing in a line kind of like that. And I'm standing with them like, these are my boys, I'm standing with people that are struggling with the same problem I am. And there's no people that are walking around and saying, yeah, I'm perfect. I can lose weight without, I can eat a whole Little Caesars pizza and lose 5 pounds the next day. I'm so envious. I'm working on it. Please pray for me about that. But so we're standing in line, and I'm feeling good about myself. My confidence is rising up. And I start to kind of walk differently. My swag's kind of changing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm feeling good. My confidence is off the charts at this point. But then I go home. I turn on the TV. Or I go to the store and I see the magazine racks. Or the model in the magazine doesn't even look like the model in the magazine because they're so photoshopped. Watching a sitcom where everybody looks perfect, but maybe there's that one character with that bigger nose than everybody else, and that's the running joke of the whole sitcom, is that one imperfection. And my confidence begins to take a skydive. And unfortunately, I think we do that to ourselves in this book right here. I think we look at the Bible and we say, I can't do those things that person did. I can't be like Moses. Moses had an experience where he stood and saw God face to face. I can't be. I wasn't one of the 12 disciples that walked with Jesus. I can't do those things. And our confidence begins to take a nosedive. I love the book of Nehemiah. He was a cupbearer for the king of Persia. Let me tell you what a cupbearer was back then. A cupbearer, back in these days, if the king was going to drink Kool-Aid, say, the cupbearer would drink the Kool-Aid. If the cupbearer lived, the king could drink the Kool-Aid. But if the cupbearer died, the king is to stay away from that Kool-Aid. You guys follow me? Okay. So that's what Nehemiah did. And in a day and age where there was so much corruption in kingdoms, people trying to overthrow kings so that they could exalt themselves to kings. It was a dangerous job, but it was a comfortable job in the sense that he worked in the castle See your time to me already?
Time's up, sorry.
Oh, perfect. You go to the next slide. Now, back in 538 BC, King Cyrus of Persia exiled the Jews out of the province of Judah. I'm just giving you a little backstory so we understand the scripture that we're about to read. When bear with me, our tax said, sir, you know what? If you want good examples of what not to name your children, there's some great ones in the Bible. So this new king comes into power, and he says, all the Jewish people can come back to the province of Judah, can come back to the city of Jerusalem, and he makes Nehemiah his cupbearer. I think I covered it. Okay. So we're going to take off in Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 2. It says, Hanani, one of my brothers, came to visit me with some other men who had just arrived from Judah. I asked them about the Jews who had returned there from captivity and about how things were going in Jerusalem. One point that I want to really point out is he's really, Nehemiah's heart goes out to the Jews, the people of Judah, the people of the city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem was a city within Judah. Verse 3. They said to me, things are not going well for those who return to the province of Judah. They are in great disgrace and trouble. Why is that? The wall of Jerusalem has been torn down and the gates have been destroyed by fire. Why would that cause a city to be under distress back in those times? Imagine if you had a house with no walls. You go to sleep, you're in danger of being attacked by somebody. If you leave your home, someone could walk right into your home and steal whatever they want. And back in these days, kingdoms were constantly at war with each other. Cities were. The wall was your defense. Without a wall, you have no security. You have no comfort. You can go to the next slide. This is one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible, this next one. Don't miss this one. When I heard this, verse 4, when I heard this, I sat down and I wept. In fact, for days I mourned, I fasted, and I prayed to the God of heaven. His heart was broken. Have you ever heard news that broke you so much as you wept? It says that Nehemiah sat down. I believe that his legs got weak. That the news that he heard about the security of Jerusalem was so devastating to him that he couldn't stand anymore. Have you ever received news like that? My wife and I, like I said, my wife Well, the first year of our marriage, we lived in the Portland area. My wife works for the state of Oregon, and it was a great job. She just went from a temp position to part-time, and she was just about to receive her state benefits, which were very good. She was making some good money, and there was lots of opportunity for her to move up. Things were very comfortable for us, and we had a very comfortable future ahead of us. One day, a pastor calls my wife, and he says, "Will you become our children's pastor?" My wife, just a week prior to that, she said, "You know what? I want to work with kids. I want to do something. My heart is breaking for kids." And I said, "Okay, well, maybe we'll find a small church that maybe doesn't have a kids pastor, and you can dedicate, a few hours a week to helping them out on Sundays." But when this pastor called a week later, after she told me that, after she told me about her heart for those kids, for kids, this pastor calls. He says, "Will you become our kids' pastor?" Now, essentially, he didn't directly ask these questions, but essentially what he was asking was, will you lose your state benefit, trade in your state benefits for no benefits? Instead of working part-time hours, will you work full-time hours and get a part-time salary? Will you leave your established home and move over an hour away to our community? That is essentially what he was asking her to do. She had a broken heart. You can't say no. God was preparing me. The worst thing I could have done as a husband is say, "Absolutely not. We are going to be comfortable in this house." That's the worst thing I could have done as her husband. What can God do with a broken heart? Look at what Nehemiah was able to accomplish. I wish, if you guys would just do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and read the book of Nehemiah. Read it multiple times. You will catch something new every time, I guarantee you. I wish I could go into depth about how Nehemiah was so burdened with Jerusalem, and he knew he had to do something. He could not just sit. He was so burdened that he had to take action. And I wish I could tell you about how he approached the king, which back in those days, the king summoned you. You did not approach the king. If you did, your head could be off. It's death sentence. He approached the king accepted him, said, "What is it that you want?" And I wish I could tell you about the story of how he makes his request. "Will you let me go back to Jerusalem? I need to build these walls." I wish I could tell you about how he went back to Jerusalem and he got everybody fired up, and we're going to build these walls. And then threats from opposing kingdoms. Oh no, the Jewish people are building up those walls. They start sending out threats. the workers of the wall. Half of them continue to work on the wall, working with one hand, carrying a weapon in the other hand. The other half of the workers stood guard, ready for battle. I wish I could go further into that. I wish I could go further into about the corruption within Jerusalem that affected the building of it. I wish I could go into the false prophet who tried to make their leader Nehemiah stumble. Sorry, I just don't have time today. But the reoccurring theme is that God's hand is upon them all the time. And it always goes back to verse 4. When I heard this, I sat down and wept. In fact, for days I mourned, I fasted, and prayed to the God of heaven. You said you're in the stage of prepare. You need a broken heart. That's painful. Chapter 6, verse 15 through 16. Now, I'm sorry for the injustice of skipping all this, but this is good. Verse 15. So on October 2nd, the wall was finished, just 52 days after we had begun. When our enemies in the surrounding nations heard about it, they were frightened and humiliated. They realized this work had been done with the help of our God. Amen. Sorry, I'm slacking on the slides. I'm off actually. Next one. There we go. God's hand was upon them through the whole process. And it started with a man who made himself available, who left the comfort of a kingdom to build this wall. That's hard work. I had to put drywall up last summer. That's not fun. I couldn't imagine building a wall around a city. It's hard work. Next slide.
This is the last time we got on it.
Oh, is it? Oh, there's one missing. That's okay. I received a phone call from my wife last month. I thought we had bad reception. I couldn't quite understand what was being said. It took me a little while to figure out that my wife was sobbing uncontrollably. And I said, what's going on? What's happening? And she said, I'm on my way to the hospital right now. One of the children at Praise Assembly had fallen 25 feet. Ooh. My wife later told me that she couldn't even recognize that it was a human face when she saw this boy, this 8-year-old boy. His name was Daniel Endra. He was 8 years old. Can I tell you that it puts things in perspective? Yeah. What this pastor, when he called my wife and offered her a job, what he was essentially asking her is, will you be the pastor of this young boy? Will you speak into the last moments of his life? Wow.
Yeah.
We never know. We never know, and we never will know when someone's last moments are going to be. Are you willing to get uncomfortable? Are you willing to step out and say, God, break my heart?
Yes.
That is painful. There was 5 companies that said, okay, 80% of Americans are Christian, but let's go deeper than this. Let's see how many people are disciplined in reading their Bibles, how many people are disciplined in praying, that go to church regularly, and can I say this, has an active relationship with God. Can I tell you, those 5 companies, not all of them were Christian companies. They found that the high number was 9%, the low number 6%. Oregon is one of the most unchurched states in America. Is that breaking someone's heart here today? Man. That little girl's playing piano. Is she in here? Can you come up? Can you come up for us? Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. What was that second song that you guys played?
Mine Saved.
Mine Saved. Can I have you and a couple of the vocalists come up, jump on the piano, and just play a riff on the piano here. We're gonna close with that song, because some people need to ask God to break their heart. I'm talking to 3 different groups of people today. The first group is the people who maybe you're saying, you know what, I'm disciplined in reading my Bible. I go to church, and I have a community of believers that help keep me accountable, and I love the Lord. I love spending time with Him. But my heart's not broken. I'm not available. I've not made myself available. This first group of people, if you're willing to step out and say, God, break my heart. I want to be willing to be uncomfortable, to be used, and maybe speak into the last moments of someone's life. Maybe there's some people in here today that are saying, you know what, I don't read my Bible or pray. I don't have a relationship with God, but I want to come back to that. I want to come back to that. And then there's the third group of people who are saying, dude, I just happened to walk in these doors. Or came to just hear you speak. I'm honored by that, by the way. I want to thank you guys. All of you guys. Thank you, church, for having me, Pastor Mason. This third group of people, the question is, are you willing to say, yeah, you know what? I'm ready to make that commitment to begin a relationship with God. And I haven't said a thing about Jesus. And I'm sorry, I feel like I've sinned, not going a whole sermon without saying anything about him. Pastor, are these doors open every Sunday? This is a great place to start. I'm Assemblies of God, on it up personally, but there's good Baptist churches, there's good Nazarene churches. We're all family here. Find a good church. One that will keep you accountable. Yeah. One that you can grow in a relationship with the Lord in. Can we all just bow our heads and close our eyes real quick? First group. Yeah, you know what? I love the Lord. That's my rock you're talking about. But my heart's not broken. No, it's not. I'm comfortable. If God told me to do something radical, I don't know, man. My heart's not, I'm not sure if my heart's there. But I want to get there. Will you? If that's you, just give me a wave, just quick. Hands down, heads down, eyes closed. Thank you. Second group. I used to have a relationship with God. I want to get back to that. If that's you, can you give me a wave? Just real quick. Thank you. Son, thank you. Last group. I walked in here. You guys seem really crazy to me. But you have so much joy here. I want to get to know this God more. I want to learn about Jesus. I want to accept him into my heart right now. That's you. Can you give me a wave? Thank you. Okay. Now I understand there's probably a fourth group in here that's saying, dude, my heart is broken. You guys can all open your eyes now. Thank you. My heart is broken. You're preaching to the choir here. Wow. That's awesome. You'd be in prayer during this time right now. Pray for the rest of us. Can we sing that song one more time? And I'm just requesting that whatever group you fall under, that you just present your request, whatever group that is. Lord, break my heart. Lord, I want to come back to you. Lord, I want to give my life to you today. Again, thanks for having me. Pastor, thanks for having me.
As the worship team sings this song, let's all sing with them. If you need prayer, come on up to the